G'day, welcome back to Project Brupeg. A few years ago, Jess and myself bought a boat that needed a little bit of work. We didn't quite know how much work it needed, but we thought it won't be that much to get her into this condition here. It took 10 years, which was slightly more than we thought at first. However, we couldn't have done this without the incredible supplies, support and people of Burnett Heads and Bundaberg. It's kind of a mythical place where the locals drive industrial-sized lawnmowers, and the region seems to be full of tiny trains pulling shopping trolleys full of sugar. Brupeg wouldn't have been possible though without the support from Bundaberg Port Marina.
Thanks, guys!
We weren't the longest boat to stay in the yard, but we got on the podium of the top 3. It was pretty amazing to be able to build a boat surrounded by so many commercial boats and expertise from the guys that work here. Finally, it was time to drag Brupeg across the road and plonk her into the sea. A traditional launch dance was performed by Pat, and we finally managed to pop her into the drink.
Got a bit of a list of helpers.
Have you seen the wall of helpers? Look at this. This is everyone that helped. This is everybody that helped us get this engine. This is a new engine and gearbox. These guys donated to it.
Yes.
Amazing, eh?
Good.
Yeah. Brupeg was a sunken fishing trawler that was stripped out and ready for the scrapyard. She's just completed a 10-year rebuild that's brought her back to life. With the help of volunteers and funded by our Patreons, community and subscribers, she'll be crewed by passionate people from around the world. If you'd like to be involved and support the project, please consider joining us on Patreon or subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the description below. So it's 2:30 in the morning. We're going to hopefully press off in about half an hour. And Jess is just loading the cat up with lamb and drugs so that it doesn't turn into a pterodactyl on the
Trying to wake up.
on the road. And trying to wake up, yeah.
Off asleep.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are we all?
All right,
Morning.
let's press on and get some boat moving.
Let's do it.
So we decided to speed things up a little. Rather than leaving the dock, going out and anchoring and putting both wings down, we'd put the starboard wing down at the wharf, and then we could head out and just put one wing down and speed things up a wee bit. Very hard to make out up there, but the guys are undoing the bow line. So Jess is on the dock, Duncan's on the bow. They're coming back. Can't see her, but she's just noticed that the gate is wide open. So the guys will come back now and we'll get this springer off, and then they'll get that stern line off and we're clear to go. Springer's just come off, you can see there. Jess is going back now. She's got stern line. Right, chuck that in.
Okay, well.
Done, lovely.
Keep in watch. Well, the guys put these other stabilizer down. We put the first one down at the wharf and the second one's just gone down now. So I think I've just managed to. Not everything is ready for sure, but enough to get going. So.
And with both wings down, we leave Bundaberg Port for the last time.
This will probably be the last time we go past this marina. We're on motorway right now.
We were hoping to do an open boat to get all of the local people that wanted to see Brupeg have a chance to go through her before we left. However, it just didn't work out with timing. We will be in Gladstone for a few weeks, so if there's anybody that wants to see Brupeg, please get in touch with us and we'll do what we can to show you through the boat in Gladstone. So it's 4:30 in the morning, 0430 hours, so we are heading on this course here. Our radar for some reason is not aligned. We've had an issue with our digital compass. It's just before dawn. You can see that it's starting to light up. You can start to actually see the bow of the boat and everything now. The lights over back that way is where we've come from, Bundaberg. So we just bring the map up. We've come out of here, we've followed this course here, and we're just skirting the land over here. There's a big shallow area in here, so we've done a big wide swing out where it's a wee bit hard to see where the centre of these circles, the little dot with the 2 lines, that's us. Everything's going good. Our prototype circuit board has lost its tacho, but we've got tacho in the engine room and we know we're not changing the revs, so we know we're pretty good. So we're cruising at this stage, we're cruising at 7.5 knots. All our planning is done for 7 knots, and we may bump it up to 8 knots just depending on how we go. But it's pretty flat water out here. Those sloppy waves that we had yesterday when we were doing our testing, the wind stopped pretty much. We didn't have a lot of wind all day, and that just meant the waves could calm down over time. So you can kind of see the conditions out there is quite benign. So what we've found is going head on into the sea, we've found that Brupeg does sort of pitch quite a bit, and a bulb would definitely reduce that. It's one thing that we have been pondering in the next few years is putting a bulb on the boat. However, side on, because of the stabilizers, just absolutely incredible how much they flatten the boat off, just totally transform. Those stabilizers are just a game changer on this boat. G'day everyone. We thought with the backdrop that we have, we'd give you a little bit of an update as to what we've been up to.
Duncan is with us and has been with us for a few days, and at 4 o'clock this morning we went through the head.
So we're steaming in the direction of Gladstone. We're going to do a check in half an hour or so and just do is everything okay, humans, feline and boat. And if they pass the muster, then we're going to press on to Gladstone, which is 13 hours from where we are now.
So we'll probably hit Gladstone around dusk.
Yeah.
And we've got a mooring booked waiting for us, so we can just attach to that when we arrive and then sleep.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone. We're just so present to what it has taken to do this. We've just left our home port for 10 years.
Yeah.
Where so many of you came and helped, and so many of you have supported us over all this time to make this possible.
And none of this would have been possible without your support and you guys believing in us. You know, you guys have been relentless, and having you guys as crew wherever you are in the world, virtual crew around the world, you guys have made this possible. It's just incredible.
Thank you so much everyone, and we'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
Cat's okay.
Alright, so we've been at sea for about an hour, so time to do another check on the engine. When we do an engine room check on Brupeg, we do them every half hour while we're steaming. So we come down and do things like a visual check, so we're looking and we're testing for temperature. So in this case we're checking everything that we know can get hot, so alternator, sump. We're testing things like filters. In this case we're looking at oil temperature through the filters, inlet temperature, cylinder head temperature, looking at RPM, making sure that everything down here is what we expect it to be. And then things like our stern gland, we want to make sure that that's not overheating, it's getting enough grease and everything's keeping it at the right temperature. We also do a couple of squirts of grease every half hour, so we know we're getting a constant stream of fresh grease into all of the parts that need that lubrication. So while we're checking the temperatures, we're going around and visually looking, are we seeing any oil leaks, has anything come loose, has anything moved. The room does get warm. We haven't finished the exhaust wrapping yet. We need to go through and finish that, and most of that heat is coming from the exhaust. That exhaust sits at anywhere between 190 and 250 degrees Celsius. Visually everything looks okay, so that's our check done this time around. We do plan to implement some sort of data logging system, so all of these temperatures at the exact same spot of measurement will be logged over time. Alright, it's a couple of hours after morning, so you can see the sea state. It's pretty much flat calm, just a few little rollers coming through. Very, very easy conditions, so perfect for the first test. So this is Thunderbird. Ignore the black chaos. That's just lots of waypoints. We're on this long straight. That's the boat there. Is that little target there? We're on this long straight run. Up here we've got the headland that we have to go around. So there's a few rocks and stuff. It originally had us going through here, but just for safety we've been on the outside. Then we got a long straight run all the way into basically the channel for Gladstone. This is the channel for Gladstone. And if you zoom out, this is where the big block carriers anchor. So you can see all the anchoring spots for them. And then this is the channel leading into Gladstone, going right up and into the marina in here. So we've got a fair bit of and then basically the autopilot's not steering the boat at the minute. So that path is where we've been going. We're just manually steering the boat. We're trying to follow the blue line.
You had to show the wiggle, didn't you?
There's the baby over there. She put herself in her box. She was nervous. She looks a bit more relaxed with us. Yes, sweetie. I'll get her some water. She might get dehydrated.
How are you feeling?
I'm always a little bit seasick, so I'm not as bad as I thought I'd be. I think the seat seems pretty flat to me, so that's good. I was expecting more out here, and it's quite flat.
So are you happy to press on the Gladstone?
I think all of us are okay, and I think the cat's maybe going to be okay. What do you guys think?
I'm not seeing anything mechanical that would call it off. Nothing's overheating. There's no oil leaks. I can't find anything wrong, like any weirdness. I measured my only concern was, are we putting enough grease into the stern gland? And I've measured it, and it actually gets progressively colder the further away from the gearbox you get. So much so that the prop shaft and the stern gland is at the same temperature as the room, and the prop shaft, the tube itself, is actually 5 degrees colder. So.
And you just go down and you just pump it a bit more?
Yeah, every half hour, a couple of squirts. If it was like 10 or 15 degrees hotter than ambient, I'd be starting to think that's not quite right. But the fact that it's colder, it's like, oh, sweet. Yeah.
So this part of the journey is nowhere to come in. So we're 9 hours away from being able to anchor if something goes wrong. So if something goes wrong, there's some fishing boats around, which is really great. We just stop and float in.
Yeah.
What's the depth?
Not much, 11 metres. We can anchor.
Right, we could anchor.
We can anchor right here.
Oh, actually getting a level on there.
Yeah. And it's similar depth most of the way up. So it's like
so we can anchor.
It's a big flat sand shelf that we're going over.
And the only real worry is if there's a breach in the hull or anything like that. If a fishing comes out or a weld or something like that. So. And
I'm not seeing any evidence for anything like that. So yeah, mechanically, I think it's fine. I think it's good. I think we check more than we normally would for this first trip. Do more grease maybe, or whatever it is. Just check everything maybe twice as much as what we would normally do.
And this is the first time the boat has run for this length of time, right? So doesn't that mean that it kind of, I don't know what the word is, but it sort of beds in like.
Yeah, it runs in.
Runs in, yeah.
So this is a really good thing for the motor. Like big long runs, diesels love. So yeah, this is fantastic for the engine.
I was thinking about it just before. It's such a good machine. It just it's not fast. It's not quiet. It's not elegant, but it's just.
It's like one of those old water pumps you find in a shed that's been running since 1930. And
But that's the feeling of it for me. Is it's like it's just something that's chugging over and it's just not going to stop unless you turn the thing off. Yeah. Well, so far so good.
Yeah. Cool.
I wonder if we should just send a message to Carl and just say we've hit the road, we're doing the first hot run.
Maybe do it once we get close.
Your motor's doing great.
Yeah. You can borderline pull the stabilisers up in these conditions.
Yeah.
Although maybe it's just we're used to it now.
Yeah.
Looks like Starlink's dropped its guts.
Is it?
The land.
Yeah. Pussycat is up on the bridge with us. She's just mostly chilled out, but also having a quiet panic. Should probably let sleeping cats lie. This wee fella here has been flying around the boat and he's landed on there. He's obviously taking a break from flying at the minute. There's cleaning to do. Quite a few jellyfish in the water, but you might be able to see this sort of brown sort of staining on the water. That's coral spawn. Happens this time every year. The whole Great Barrier Reef basically is covered in coral spawn. Pretty amazing when it happens. The view from the galley is quite nice. Just cruising along. Pretty much flat seas out there. This side's cool too.
Side by side, our faces are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life.
Time for another engine room check.
Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
We're coming up to, this is the start of our journey, this is the end of our journey, and we're going around this corner here, but we're coming past a little place called 1770, so this is the close-up of that here. So boat, this is our path, we're going to be skimming this headland here. So Rocky Point is sort of out over in this direction over here, and then that headland you can just make out over there, that is 1770 and Round Hill Head, we believe. I could be wrong on that actually. I'm just thinking Round Hill Head, you might not be able to see it, but there's a very, very faint sort of like little headland sort of thing over there somewhere. I don't know, we'll find out when we get there, I guess. Everything's going really well. Our tacho has stopped working because we've hit the limit of what our prototype Brunette board can do. So we have our production board ready to be printed, but we just haven't basically done it yet. So we'll do that very soon and we'll get this back online. We started adding in a few more sensors and things, and it's pretty much maxed out what the board can do. But we've been cruising at 8 knots, or just a touch over 8 knots. We're running pretty cruisy, 4 psi of boost. It's about 1300 revs. So we've got multiple nav screens. We've got Navionics on an iPad. These are our cameras. You can sort of see as we're cruising along. Kat has been up here with us most of the day. She's just hanging out, chilling. She's pretty relaxed. She climbed into the cage herself. I think she wants a little safe zone. But she's just been like cleaning herself, and she's eaten and had plenty of water, so she seems pretty relaxed. Sea state is getting calmer and calmer as we go. It was a wee bit sort of lumpy and rolly this morning when we started, but look at that. It's just a mill pond out there now. No breeze at all. There's probably less than a knot. I'd say you'd be lucky if you had a knot of breeze out there. Very sort of overcast day, just very, very muggy, but quite enjoyable being out here. At the back of the boat you can kind of see just how overcast it is. Very, very white looking at the back of the boat. Water's quite clean. We were going through a lot of coral spawn earlier in the day, but it's cleaned right up. You can kind of see there's the wings in action. It does chuck a bit of water onto the deck, but you can see the coral spawn in that wave there, that sort of brown looking stain. Coral spawn is basically how the corals on the barrier reef breed. So around this time of year, pretty much the entire, I think from memory it's one night a year what the entire coral reef spawns pretty much. It's kind of remarkable. I could be wrong on that. I'm not David Attenborough, but it's got a real distinct smell to it. It's pretty gross, and you can definitely tell when it's happening each time of the year. At the back you can sort of see how flat the wake is. Doesn't really chuck up much wake. You've got it heading off over that direction. It's pretty easy through the water. We've got the hatch open at the moment because we were doing some autopilot checks, so we wanted to be able to see what the rams were doing, but we have just left it open. We're venting the engine room out of here. We haven't built our ventilation system yet, so this is just our temporary ventilation system. As you can see, there's no real risk of waves coming over the back of the boat, so that's why we're happy to just take that up today. We had our little bird mate before, and he's crapped all over the boat, but he did manage to migrate up the coast without any effort on his part, so you know, good on him. Up top, we lost Starlink. We had to swap over to a new Starlink plan, and it's been spinning around trying to find where home is, but it's all working good. We've got high-speed internet back again. Up the top here, nice and clean. Engine's burning really, really clean. You can't really see any smoke there. All I can see is heat, just heat coming out of it. But yeah, she's doing beautiful. We ran the gen for a little bit just to pump everything up, get the batteries right up high. So up here you can make out the beach. I'm hoping you can make that out on the camera. And then at the far distance up there we've got the island, or the point that we need to go around. She moves very easily through the water. Very enjoyable boat to be on. Here we have our model showing how binoculars work in real life. These were donated by Brent, one of our amazing Patreons from New Zealand. Yes, I see what you're doing there. Back at you.
Thanks, Brent, they're amazing.
They are incredible.
Amazing.
The story of these is amazing. He got them in the middle of Africa and then managed to bring them all the way back to New Zealand, and then they made it across the Tasman to Brupeg. These binoculars have had more miles put on them than most people see in their lifetime.
Brent came and spent some time with us from the motherland, New Zealand, and helped out and bought a gift pack, and it had a pink shirt for Damien and
Kiwi flag.
Yeah, book, and it was amazing. So yeah, we just want to acknowledge you, Brent, and thinking of you here on the workhouse.
How does it feel, sort of being on the road?
I was just saying to Duncan that Damien mentioned that there'll be a moment when we feel like we've disconnected from Burnett Heads, where we've been building the boat, and feel like we're actually moving, and we've had a transition, and I just had it. As Duncan said, it had an emotion. It did.
There's emotion. So there are two aspects to this, aren't there? It's the fact that we're now underway on a pretty lengthy leg for a good shakedown. Gets us into Gladstone, and there's an exciting project waiting for you guys up that way. So there's that part of it. It's the beginning of a new journey. But at the same time, it's 10 years you've been in Bundaberg. That's been your home. So I wonder how you feel about that.
Yeah, those feelings again.
Another emotion.
It does feel really freeing. It's been an amazing place, and we're thankful for all the help. It's also being in one spot for so long, knowing what was coming, was being away from family as well. So it feels like a whole lifetime has just been lived, and that's just been left behind in a way. It feels like there's an open road ahead.
Yeah.
It feels amazing.
If you see me glancing away occasionally, I'm just looking at the nav screen up. So I've got the con at the moment, so yes, just making sure we stay on track.
It is an island, we don't want to hit it.
Yes. And another ship, Valencia Lutzen.
So that's what AIS looks like, and you can give it a boop. There you go. It's a tanker. It's an undefined tanker. It's heading at less than 1 knot, so it's pretty much just drifting, probably waiting so that they can get into one of the ports.
Is this one over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Can we see it? Ever so slightly on the horizon. You may be able to make it out on the camera.
G'day, everyone.
I just
So we'll be 1.7 miles off the rocks when we go past.
I'll show you this. Comfortable baby girl.
Hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through and through. No limit to what we can do.
Jess made some shepherd's pie last night, so we're going to heat that up, and I'll throw some hot water on and we'll get some veggies going. With that temporary range hood working, the little fan going flat stick, we are having broccoli and shepherd's pie. That should be getting close to ready.
We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Just hoping for look-see.
Kat's just put herself back into the tiny little cave. She's hanging out up here with us, I think. That's her safe zone. We are just going past the headland in the background. That's the headland for 1770, for anyone that knows this area. Jess has set up a bit of a bunk up here. She is getting slightly seasick, so she wants to see the horizon, and it's really lovely and cool up here, so she wants to be up in the wheelhouse where she can see everything. It's incredibly flat calm, look at that. There's just nothing out there. Maybe, if you're lucky, 20 centimetre waves, swell, that sort of thing. So a bit of a status update on here. So this left screen over here, you can see this, that's our trail, a little bit wobbly, but that's our trail. That headland is 1770. Coming up here, we're going past the rocks on Pancake Point or Busted Head. There's a couple of rocks that stick out. We can go in between them, but we're just going to bypass them and go out to the side. Adds about 10 minutes to our trip and just makes things a little bit less stressful. And then over here, this is our main, this map here is our main map as to where we've been. So we came from here, that yellow and red line is our path. We're over halfway, so I'd say 60% of the way there. And the next part of the trip actually gets interesting, because rather than doing a great big long straight line, 60 miles of not turning at all, we actually get to do some turns, which is going to be very exciting. That green gauge in the middle, that's 7.8 knots. So we're just cruising pretty much at 8 knots the whole time, 4 psi boost. We still don't have tacho, but we know we're sitting at about 1300 RPM, so the engine's just taken over really lovely. We've been driving all day to get to this point here, this big long straight with the wiggles in it, but it's so that we can get to this corner and hang a bit of a left. Jess is up front. There was a whole bunch of birds on the water, and we think there was maybe tuna under the water that was sort of pretty energetic, leaping out, eating whatever was under the above them. This is us pulling a hard lefty. Got carried away, pulled too much of a lefty. We've just turned this corner on this headland here, heading in towards Gladstone over here. It's not much to see, but there's basically land over this side, and there's anchored bulk carriers and things on that side. How are you feeling about the trip? How do you think the boat's gone?
Very depressed, actually. You asked me about my feelings. No, I've just really loved the water with nothing there. It's like just nature, and I'm seeing ships in front. I know there's nothing wrong with ships, but it's not nature. I am excited at getting in and then checking over the boat and debriefing how it went. Seems to have gone really uneventfully, which is really nice. And that reminds me, when are you due for an engine room check?
I'll go down and do a check now.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Coming into Gladstone. On this side we've got Gladstone and the hills and so on, the harbour in the far distance. And then on the other side we have all of the bulk carriers. So quite a big mooring zone for these guys over here. I don't know how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 that I can see just visually. Oh, there's a whole bunch more over there, probably another dozen over there as well. Just humming along nicely. Lovely clean water up here, very clear. Back up through the boat. Who's driving? Duncan's driving.
So we're just entering the approach towards the channels going into Gladstone. We've got a bit of traffic around us now. Off on the right we've got some holding grounds for the big ships. And so I'm keeping a very, very tight line here since Bindy's coming up behind us. I don't want to turn out in front, so I'm going to try and track to our next waypoint as close as I can. And after that waypoint, we then enter and merge with the channel.
This is the anchoring ground for those ships that I was showing you earlier. There's a lot of them, so you can sort of see out here, hoping it'll show up on the camera. So there's two groups. That's the northern group, and then that's the southern group. So Gladstone is a big coal and LNG port. As part of my last job, I used to deal with a lot of electricity contracts and things like that for companies and so on. And there was this one LNG plant, liquefied natural gas plant, that they started on this place called Curtis Island, which is where we're going basically. It's across the river from Gladstone. And when that came online, it just absolutely had chaos with the electricity price in Australia because it used so much power. It was something, I think it was like 20% of Queensland's power was going into this one facility. It was just colossal how much power it takes to compress methane, which is natural gas. And they call it natural gas because it's not the gas that comes off coal. It was a natural gas. It was already in gas form when they found it. So anyway, long story, bit of history there. But they compress it down to minus 162 degrees Celsius from memory. So it becomes a liquid at that point. And it's much easier to transport. So that's why you see in the big bulk carriers that are over here, when it's an LNG boat, they'll often have big domes, like 4 big domes along the length of the boat. And it's essentially a big refrigerator that keeps on board that boat, that keeps the gas at minus 166. So a little bit of trivia there. Time for another engine room look around. We're coming into Gladstone and pushing against tide, so we've lifted the revs to about 1600 RPM. We should still be able to get a little bit more out of this engine. We're currently running 20 pounds boost and it will do 1850 RPM at 22 pounds boost. So whilst the engine gets a bit warm, everything in here looks really good. Everything's working as it should. So Gladstone has a really long harbour entrance, and we started going up the harbour entrance about 2 hours from start to finish for us to get up there. But there's quite an outgoing tide. So we ended up at our cruise speed, it ended up going right down to 6.5 knots. So we just put the hammer down, we've got it at full noise and we're just hauling ass to get in, just so that not that we need to, but we're hauling ass to get in during daylight hours, so that it's just easy. We're all getting a bit tired, we just want to get in and get this boat sort of tied up at the mooring and engine off for the day. But it's pretty cool, the boat's flying along. It's not maximum RPM, it's 1600, 1850 is our maximum, but this is basically 1600 RPM. So this is pushing about, normally this would be about 9 knots, 9.2, something like that. We've got a bit of a bow wave going on. You can certainly hear the motor working. As you can see, we're copping a bit of water from the spray just coming over. It is quite flat water, so we are able to go fairly fast without too much drama.
Call facility 2 at 1700 hours and nil nav 8 defect. Over.
Coming from a fairly empty port like Bundaberg up to a fairly busy port like Gladstone was a big change with the amount of radio traffic that we had. Fishing boat heading out. the first of about 50 ship loading wharfs in Gladstone. More wharfs. Over the back you can see a fairly big industrial site. That's where they make spam. They take the gravel, the red gravel at the front there, they pump it into the big machine that has the funnels, and out comes spam. Little did you know. Coming up to the harbour basin, Jess did a tidy up of the boat, got all our lines ready, and had the boat prep ready to moor up. This is the first time that we've moored Brupeg to a swing mooring. We've had plenty of experience with swing moorings and anchoring and marinas with our previous boat, but everything's new with Brupeg because we haven't had her out on the water very long. Not far from the mooring basin is big wheat silos. We're sort of tucked around behind, there's a channel behind here, and you can see the 3 stacks from a local power station. Coming into the channel, HMAS Gladstone is a warship that's been decommissioned and is now run as a museum boat. And our channel is on the right hand side.
And here you can see it on the screen on OpenCPN.
And that's the marina that we're going into. I've got 3.6 metres under me right now, and roughly where that buoy is, it looks like it's 3.4. So one thing Jess and I do to make docking and manoeuvring on Brupeg easier is actually phone each other and put our earbuds in so that we can talk really clearly to each other without having to push to talk on a VHF, and we can just have a really normal conversation when we're docking. Think of it as a marriage saver. A little bit of weed on the wing, on the cable. How'd you guys go with it? Oh yeah, sweet, easy. So we've just grabbed the mooring buoy at Gladstone. So given the engine a couple of minutes just to chill down, let the turbo cool down a bit. It's dropped about 5 degrees Celsius, so you can sort of see the engine's losing some temperature just by idling, but let's get it, go and do a last check. We'll go around and check all the temperatures and then shut her down. I did find a little oil leak that was running down the side here, and this is why I love having a white engine room, because you can see these things really clearly. And what it was this fitting was ever so slightly loose and just dripping down, running along the side of the engine mount and being obvious.
Game? Fish?
I don't know if you're still able to swim, mate.
Kit's trying to figure out where she is. New place. Damien's just getting the motor organised to go over to the marina to pay for the mooring and find out about food for tonight.
Okay, so we have a slight change
Oh.
of plans.
Outboards aren't meant to do that.
Yeah.
What is going on there?
Yeah. That's the important question.
So what was that
Hmm.
rub you had in your hand just then?
That's the fuel on-off lever.
Oh.
Look, I'm going to say the correlation there is pretty strong.
Maybe we just use the big one.
Yeah, I think we'll just use the big one.
Just left everything in chaos yesterday after the shakedown trip. We did well. Did really great. One of my favourite views at the moment is these. Look at that beautiful thing in the water. I don't know if you can just make it out. The water's reasonably clear. See the stabiliser in there. A little bit of growth on the top of it there. Geez, they made a huge difference. And we've already had people say hello, take photos and send them to us. I'm looking forward to catching up with our patrons here and our viewers. We're here for 3 weeks. I'll enjoy the big boats. It's feels a bit like home having the big boats around. You can see there's a variety, and we've got different ferries going past us. And just down there and out, it's big ports, big ships. So I'm in a little slice of heaven at the moment. They're booking in to go to town. There's a shuttle apparently that goes to the local shops, so they'll go and do that today, and And then it's just finishing some jobs before Duncan leaves tomorrow on a plane. He's going home and then off to the US to visit friends. So we've got one more day with Dunk, so we'll have a nice roast for lunch and a nice restful evening. We're going to take it easy. It was a bit hard to get up this morning. We were all pretty tired. It was a big push. But as far as shakedown trips go, oof, it was pretty amazing. Thank you for making this possible. Just incredible to be here doing this. The insight begins.
In his natural habitat, the Australian programmer finds solace in his resting space.
Did make a difference, didn't it? Oh. We're off to lunch at the marina.
Can you sit this way and we'll lift the bow a little bit?
All right.
Yeah.
Put that hot seat.
Too hot?
It's getting warm. Just plunge into a few waves. But yeah.
So the cafe is down this end.
Yeah, that marina building's there. Cafe is just there. That's Trent Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fred, look what we found.
My cat and your cat.
Cute boats, cute boats. The houseboat.
Yeah. Gonna have to do a bowling.
You can see along here, there's all these little seated areas that are covered. So good for Australia. Look at the hill in the background there. You can see that. There are hills in this area. Gorgeous. What's that big thing over there?
Grain silos, I
Like
think.
grain, yeah.
Oh.
They're so loud for the
Yeah,
size
aren't
of the
they?
bay.
Really resonate.
Stay very quiet. This doesn't happen very often. Up here, we've got one of the incredibly rare Australian flying koalas.
I think it's a drop there.
Fair dinkum, there's only 3 of these known in the wild. 3. This one's Gavin.
I love the way the tails move.
Yeah.
They're really expressive with their little tails.
You are a handsome bugger. Look at you.
Aren't you gorgeous?
You've done this before though, haven't you?
Yeah.
Don't you think it's looking at you like you're a meal?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe the other bird is a meal.
Yeah,
This
maybe.
one.
Mm.
Just behind you, there's one on the fan. That's lunch for the other one.
It's watching you, darling.
Hello, fluffy dog.
Oh, about that, Charlie Brown.
There's a little standoff happening.
Mate, in one chomp, you're gone.
At the cafe at the marina here, they have a wall of dogs. Like, obviously all of the dogs that come visit here. Our challenge is to get the cat up there.
With the all-important shakedown cruise done, complete, okay, we survived, we're here. Duncan is heading off, he's heading home to get ready to go and visit friends overseas. Thank you for all you've done, Duncan.
Thank you.
you.
You got eyes like summer sky. If you're smart, could kill or die. And I